So she does not spit. She actually just swallows her food. What do you think I was trying to say? Okay, I can't keep a serious face. Dude, I love this show, man. It's so good to have this back. It's so good to be able to just sit down, watch a show, and be like, wait, where'd the time go? It feels like it's 5 minutes. That's literally what this show is, and it makes me so happy, man. I get so happy just watching this show. Just watching this anime brings me so much joy, because it has so much in it that I love. Like, obviously, it just has some great romance vibes, some really good romance. I mean, despite obviously the entirety of the story being very unbelievable, because obviously it's a bunch of different relationships, a poly relationship, very unbelievable. It works so well in this anime format that it's super endearing and sweet, and just seeing how Rintaro, he tries his best to make every single person happy, it's super wholesome. And I love this series just for the vibe, the tone of the romance and the slice of life, and even its supernatural stuff as well. It's so fun, and it's just like, fundamentally, deep down, when you're trying to like be entertained, like when you're, let's say, trying to either watch a show or play a video game or whatever, fundamentally one of the driving forces of anyone is to be entertained and to have fun. And this show is exactly that for me. I don't know how many of you guys out there that's currently watching this video have that exact same emotion, but when I watch 100 Girlfriends, it gives me joy. It gives me entertainment, and it makes me just feel like this is why I love anime. This is why I have dived into anime for so long, since I was a kid, because I love being able to sit down and just leave an episode with a smile. Now, obviously, there is some episodes that will leave you with a frown, crying, or sad, because they're emotional, tear-jerking episodes, and there's nothing wrong with that. But what I'm trying to say is that, fundamentally, I love the entertainment factor of 100 Girlfriends, and having this back airing every single week on Sunday, it's a massive joy to my life. It really is. And I want to be honest with you. If I was unaware, or if I didn't know Re:Zero was going to be returning in a few weeks, like Season 3 was returning, I would already declare 100 Girlfriends as anime of the season. 100%. Because it's that good. It really is. Obviously, there's other good stuff from this season, like Medalist and all that. Need to make a video on that one. Orb is really good as well. But I'm just saying that 100 Girlfriends, it hits the right notes for me. I know not everybody's going to have the same opinion or thoughts on this subject like me, but it hits the right things that really just make me appreciate it and just want more. But, getting into what this episode is about, obviously, because I've been very just long-winded on the praises and really just, really praising this episode, or just the series in general. This episode fundamentally is to introduce our new girlfriend character that is a very hangry girlfriend, and this makes a lot of sense. This follows the traditional format of 100 Girlfriends Season 1. For instance, when you have a new character that's introduced, usually they're introduced and there is an entire episode, maybe 2 episodes, dedicated to their introduction and allowing the watchers or readers to get acquainted with them and allow them to understand their personality more. And these episodes are not just for, let's say, the audience, but also for the characters within the story to really break the ice and meld with that character to see how they would flow and if they could pass the vibe check, so to speak, in the actual group of Rintaro's family. And I love these episodes because it's handled in such a delicate way that you're able to see what the actual individual character is good at, what they're weak at, their personality weaknesses, and also their strengths, and how they can bounce off each other. And the dynamic so far, just, we're already in on episode 2 of season 2, the dynamic of the characters is just straight up amazing. And it takes a very skilled writer to do what 100 Girlfriends does. And I've talked about this in my first impressions of season 2 already, in previous episodes in season 1, but it is something that is very relevant and needs to be talked about continuously, is that for a writer to be able to have characters, this many characters, in the story and focus on them and have their personalities be so distinct that you know them, the differences between them and what they're good at or not good at, and there's no overlap, I really appreciate that. It takes a really skilled writer to be able to accomplish that. And the 100 Girlfriends author is obviously very gifted at writing, and I think that's why 100 Girlfriends is just so popular, because the author obviously cares. They're not just doing this just for shits and giggles and just, trying to go with it as it flows. They know what they're doing. They know how to write. They know how to do a good story, and it's just really crazy how they can make such an engaging story and engaging characters with such a very lighthearted atmosphere that, let's be honest, you shouldn't take too seriously. It's just a very slice of life-ish funny series that's just, it gives you joy and laughs. And it's accomplishing all of that perfectly. But getting into the topic of this episode, obviously, to summarize, this episode's about food. It's literally about all of our characters coming together to eat and win a food eating contest. It is nothing too serious. It's very simplistic, but with the meta humor, fan service, and jokes that we've all come to know and love from 100 Girlfriends. I mean, there's so many things to take away from this episode, but there is one gag and joke that I really enjoyed. There's a few, but I love this cake scene. I especially love how, like, for instance, if they kept eating cake, they realized they might, like, get fat or something. But then you literally had our resident tsundere was like, if you eat the cake, it doesn't mean that you'll get fat in other places. Your chest will get fatter. And then they're like, oh, that's amazing. And they just start, engulfing the cake. And I'm just like, of course. And just to have the tsundere character that's obviously very self-conscious about the flat chest, but to encourage her basic rivals, I love that. It's some very sweet stuff like that, some meta humor and tropes that you see in constant in other anime, used in a very unique and nice way with this episode. But in terms of other jokes, we have some meta humor. For one, we have fan service meta humor, which is right at the beginning, but we also have humor about go read the manga. And I think this one legitimately is what caught me by surprise, and it really makes me not just appreciate the show more, but it showcases the level of detail and attention and love that the staff that works on 100 Girlfriends actually has for the show. Let's get into that one. So, the big thing about that is the staff, the people that work on this show, clearly know they have to cut content. They're very well aware of it, and manga readers that have read the manga and are watching the anime will notice certain content that is cut. Certain panels, certain things are changed, etc. They're very well aware of it. And the actual staff, kind of nodding and pointing this stuff out within the episode, showcases they're like, yeah, look, we know some things are cut, we know that you might be sad you didn't get to see it animated, but they use it in a way that feels very meta, and it fits so perfectly with the show, it feels like it was always there. When they talk about how, like, oh, go read the manga if you want to see how this goes or whatever, I appreciate that. It's a gag that makes fun of itself, it makes fun of the cuts and stuff they have to do to make an anime, but like I said, the humor just fits so nicely with the show that it's always been there. It feels like it's supposed to be there. And I don't really see any complaints from actual manga readers when it comes to, 100 Girlfriends. And I think that is what makes this such a good show. It's such a good show. Even with it having some cut content, people still love it because the way they do it is executed so perfectly. So yeah, 100 Girlfriends overall, it is a fantastic show. It is just downright amazing. I would dare say that every other romance harem show, it just stands back in envy of what 100 Girlfriends is able to accomplish. Because not many shows, not many manga can do what 100 Girlfriends does in such a successful way. Because even if the plot is super generic, to be able to write it and make it so engaging, it takes skill and a lot of love. And it is just so much. It's a culmination of so much to a very well-versed and dedicated staff that's working on the show and a great author and artist. If it wasn't for that, we would not have anything as near as good as what we have currently. I love this show, man. It brings me joy. And I can't wait to watch more next week. So be safe, stay healthy, and I love you guys. Chibi out.